Is Darlene Bedu. And Rabbi, I have a question for you. The question is, what is Israel's position on the Palestinian claim to a right of return?
Thank you very much for your great question. The point is that right of return, first of all, it's those that got out of Israel for the war that was against Israel. Seven armies, 1947, invaded Israel. And don't forget that 3 years after the Holocaust, that took a third of the population, 6 million people out of them were 1.5 million kids got, with the pathway and were tortured and so on Holocaust. We tried going to have to get the whatever that was division of the two-state solution. First of all, the Arab Palestinian, and second one, it wasn't a Palestinian then when the UN decided to get apart the two sides of the Jordan, one Jewish state and second one was the Arab state. And 1917, as we said, and then later on by the Balfour Declaration, they artificially we had countries like Jordan, like Iraq or Syria, as well Lebanon and so on, and Jewish homeland. The point is that after the 1947, the 850,000 Jews that were living in Muslim countries, that we have 56 countries, Muslim countries, as well 22 Arab countries that was expelled, and they run out because of the pogroms that they have in their states and came to their Jewish homeland. And also we had the same number, 650 or 700 or 8,000, 800,000, Arabs that got out of these lands that were living because of the war. Whatever that will happen, that Israelis, even that were 3 years after the Holocaust, absorbed all those 850 from Turkey, from Iraq, from Egypt, from Algeria, from Tunis, from Morocco, from Iran. They were absorbed. Even President of Israel was a Persian, President Katsab. As well, we have those who come from Poland, as well in Russia, and those that even they didn't have the totalitarian countries came to over here. You're going to have the first democracy in the heart of the Middle East. The point is that, first of all, the Palestine, Palestine, when they say Palestine, it's not mentioned in Quran. Palestine, it's the name that you cannot find in just in the Bible. You can find Palestine, okay, that they're mentioned. But Palestine in 1964 got the name by Jabal Abdel Nasser, that is the Arab issue and the Palestinian issue in this era. And those that were, expelled and got out of the Israel, that were independently as a democracy, besides absorbing 850,000 Jews from the Islam and Arab countries that were run out from this country because of the pogroms. Over here, we had also Arab Israelis over here living at 20% until now. The right of return, I should have give the historical moments and historical background to understand what does mean right of return. Right of return, whenever there is say, the same that is say, okay, right of return of Palestinians, that right now they say instead of 850,000 became 2, 3 million people. That's none of the Islamic countries that were living over there, not Lebanon, not Iraq, not Egypt, and also not Jordan, that 78% of them, they're Palestinian, didn't want to give them the right of citizenship. It means that the issue of the conflict became not only serious issue for their own settlements over there, even that we have this century agreements that were proposal of Trump administration that they wanted to gonna $50 billion. They wanted to gonna invest $28 billion. They wanted to invest in the Palestinian Jordan Samaria. Second thing, they wanted to gonna give the Egypt to more to 22 $1 billion to get settled these people that they see themselves even after the 73 years after independence of Israel, still refugees, and didn't accept the UN resolution that's gonna give the division of this Israel for two Jewish and Arab state. It means that from one side we got absorbed 850,000 Jews that were expelled from their own countries that were got born, and other side other countries, 56 Islamic countries and 22 other Arab countries didn't want them as well. Gaza, not Israeli interested, not that 1.5 million people living over there, and not also interested Egypt, because whenever that we are, getting to the terrorists, no one wanted to deal with them as well. In 1970s, they tried to gonna have the Palestinians gonna have coup d'etat in Jordan and put Malik Hussein away. And Malik Hussein, the king of Jordan, massacred more than 30,000 Palestinians, 30,000 Palestinians in Jordan to defeat them. The point is that this issue of Palestinian and Israelis, also Clinton tried to kind of bring a resolution about the Camp David, as well Carter. Right now, we have agreements by the Ibrahim agreements with the aid of the Trump administration, with Bahrain, with Emirates, as well Morocco, Sudan, besides two more great countries, Jordan and Egypt, peace process and peace accords and peace agreements. It means that Arabs, they see themselves, they don't want to still pay for these refugees, because the refugees, they are as well, after Holocaust, we had one generation of refugees. Okay. But right now you cannot say, because the UNRWA asking for money for all the UNRWA, UN, and so on, after the 73 years, 100 years, asking, as mentioned themselves as a refugee, asking money for the Saudi Arabia, other peoples. The Arabs wanted peace, as you see with Israelis, because the Iran threats that we have right now, Islamic Republic over there, and missiles that they have that are threatened by them. From other side, they see the enemy of me is my friend. Is mean the Arab countries wanted to live in peace with Israel. The point is that the Palestinians, they're isolated. They say that neglected. That's why getting to once again, after another time, got to terrorists to say, okay, if we not gonna take ourselves for any cause, it's a day is because Sheikh Jarrah, to 28 families that were living 130 years ago over there, and the legion of the Jordanian got these these places and get it to the Arabs. And for 60 years, they were living over these, region. Region means the in Jerusalem for free. Supreme Court of Israel decided to gonna, bring back these houses to the Jews. That's why they started another violence. But regarding the right of return, we did absorb the Jews from the Israeli, from the Islamic countries, but all these 56 countries and 22 Arab countries even didn't want to give them, equal rights and citizenship, and they see themselves. That's why they wanted they're going to have the Palestinian issue to be alive and not be have the resolution for that.
Thank you for that answer, Rabbi. It was fantastic. You went into great depth, and I really appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.